We measure success by volume. From sold-out seminars to massive arenas, the ultimate expression of our culture is the crowd. We've built a society that equates loud, highly stimulated spaces with achievement. This translates directly to how we view leadership. The modern ideal is a high-energy, charismatic figure. We are taught that projecting an outgoing, dominant personality is the only real path to influence. This chart highlights a stark biological reality that contradicts our cultural design. At least 1/3 of the population is naturally introverted. They prefer listening over speaking and reading over partying. Rather than seeing this as a natural temperament, society often treats quietness as a psychological hurdle. We tell quiet children to speak up and push adults to put themselves out there, framing introversion as a condition to be cured. We have engineered our schools and workplaces exclusively for the loudest people in the room. By doing so, we are actively suppressing the exact environment that is required by some of our greatest innovators. The obsession with extroversion is actually a recent invention. For much of human history, societies valued internal character, what you did when no one was looking, rather than how well you commanded a room. In the early 20th century, figures like Dale Carnegie helped shift the cultural baseline. The focus moved from quiet integrity to projecting a magnetic external personality. This new model quickly infiltrated prestigious institutions. Elite business programs began rewarding brash, backslapping behavior, institutionalizing a bias that favored vocal participation over quiet competence. This historical pivot accidentally hardwired a specific personality type into the physical architecture and leadership models of modern business. You can see this design flaw in almost every modern corporate office. We removed the walls to create open plan layouts and mandated constant group brainstorming sessions to force collaboration. The research shows this forced collaboration actually stands in the way of true innovation. It creates a consensus-driven environment that dilutes original ideas and actively stifles creativity. The personal computer wasn't born in a loud committee meeting. It was invented by an introverted engineer working completely alone. By forcing introverts into loud, constant collaboration, institutions are systematically destroying the deep, solitary focus required for major technological breakthroughs. Introverts are not failed extroverts. Brain scans show they are biologically wired to process stimuli differently. Their neural pathways react strongly to external input. Extroverts have a high dopamine threshold, requiring massive external stimulation for a reward. Introverts reach that chemical peak with far less input. Biologists call this the orchid hypothesis. An introverted nervous system requires specific, controlled conditions to thrive, but under them produces extraordinary results. When an entire industry is dominated by high dopamine threshold personalities, the baseline for acceptable risk begins to shift. On the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, this collective drive for stimulation manifested as the aggressive, high-stakes betting leading to the 2008 crash. In that exact same industry, quiet, deliberate thinkers like Warren Buffett prospered by avoiding the noise and maintaining careful, low-risk discipline. A corporate world designed solely for the extroverted reward system creates a dangerous imbalance. We have built an ecosystem that rewards the impulsive reward-seeking of one group while muting the cautious, steady thinking of the other. The human cost of this systemic flaw is vast. Asian American students often feel alienated by the brash atmosphere of American schools, and highly capable children grow up feeling broken simply because their natural temperament doesn't fit the mold. The loud world is not going to change its structure overnight. For now, navigating these spaces requires a pragmatic approach. Sometimes it makes sense to practice pretend extroversion. This means adopting outgoing traits for short strategic bursts to advance a project, even if it requires significant energy to do so. But long-term influence relies on soft power. Leaders like Eleanor Roosevelt drove major social reforms by speaking out of deep conscience, rather than shouting down opponents in a debate. Real authority does not require the loudest voice in the room. It requires the most deliberate one. Society owes a vast debt to people who prefer listening to speaking. The quietest individuals have consistently provided our most enduring cultural and technological treasures. From the personal computer to Van Gogh's sunflowers, true brilliance often requires isolation. Businesses and schools need to rethink their environments. We must design physical spaces and workflows that actually allow for deep, solitary work instead of forced interaction. If you are an introvert, it is time to stop viewing yourself as a defective extrovert. Your temperament is a highly specialized biological advantage and an essential class of thinking. If we are going to solve the complex problems of the modern world, we have to stop talking and start letting the quiet one-third work in peace.